morning, good afternoon, and good night, people. This is the Metro Coder Podcast. I'm Edwin, your host, and today we're going to be talking about the midterm elections. Well, not so much about the details of the midterm elections, but how it relates from a technological point of view, because that's the point of this podcast. Because I don't know anything about politics. I'm not going to lie and tell you that I know anything about politics. So I'm going to take it from the angle that I know of, which is technology. So to start off, we have an article from opensecrets.org. And the title of the article is "The Total Cost of the 2022 State and Federal Elections Projected to Exceed $16.7 billion. Wow. And that is record breaking. So last year, the last elections, it was estimated that it was around 13 billion, something along those lines. And now it's 16.7 billion. And just really quickly, I want to go over, because one of the most interesting things about facts like this and articles like this is you have to see where the data is coming from, right? It's an estimate. Now, who came up with these estimates? What is it that they used to come up with these estimates? All right. So let's look into the details here. So here they claim the federal cost of election projections are projections of spending by congressional candidates, national parties, 527 committees, and outside money groups, in addition to overhead expenditures by PACs and joint fundraising committees. To project federal spending figures for the current cycle, OpenSecrets compared previous midterm cycle spending through the pre-general reports to those cycles' final totals to determine a projection ratio. Those ratios were then applied to the 2022 cycle spending data as of this year's October 27th pre-general report. So pretty much it's a lot of money. And what are they spending this money for? Well, not for, but on. We obviously know it's for the elections. But apparently this has to do with people marketing and making their candidates more public, making people understand what the message is, what is it that they're going for. So these are private spending, so by PACs and things of that nature. And apparently for this election cycle, the party that spent the most is actually the Republican Party, and that's by 56. So they have 56.04% of the spending. Remember, these are just projections here. And the Democrats spent about 42.9% out of that total budget. And it seems like the Senate races are the ones that are the most, that are being spent. For right now, the largest is Pennsylvania, the Pennsylvania Senate, which was, I forgot who that was there, but I hope that's not the Dr. Oz one and the other dude with a hoodie. I don't know what's going on there. Like I said, I never claim to know about politics. I'm strictly here to talk to you about data, about the tech and computer science standpoint of this, right? So this was all spent. Why do I bring this up, and what is the tech angle on this? Well, there's another article that recently came out, and that is, as midterms, this is from the Washington Post. This is funny. Washington Post, which was purchased and owned by Jeff Bezos, the owner of Amazon. Yeah, that little company. Anyway, so the title of this article is "As Midterms Loom, TikTok Faces Its Next Political Test." And why do they say that? Nearly 30% of all major party candidates in Senate races have TikTok accounts, and 1/5 of all major party House candidates have an account on the platform. So 3 years ago, this is also on the article, 3 years ago, TikTok imposed strict rules prohibiting campaign advertising as the video sharing app tried to avoid the scandals over political content that have long dogged its social media rivals. But with the election day fast approaching, TikTok can't manage to stay on the sidelines. Now, another interesting fact, I mean, if you want to get into the politics of it, Democrats have been more likely to embrace the app, with 34% of the candidates in Senate, House, Governor, and Secretaries of State race having TikTok accounts, according to the report, and only 12% of Republicans have the TikTok accounts. Anyway, we bring this up because in the past, Facebook, Cambridge Analytica, there was a scandal when Trump was elected president that social media was used to sway the elections, and that was the way that he came into office, right? So that's the tech angle, right? Is people are using. So we're talking about the budget that they have to spend. Now it's 16.7 billion was projected, right? Now it's used to raise awareness. Now, where are they going to try to raise awareness? Now, everybody has a phone, and everybody is addicted to the phone, whether we want to admit it or not, but it's something that's easy that we can access. Anyway, that's where some of this $16.7 billion are coming, right? We're getting advertisements talking about elections. I mean, you even see on Instagram, they had like the little sticker that you could put that says I voted and things of that nature. Yeah, so now politics and technology have intertwined. And that's the way that they're going to be advertising from now on. And now, why is this a big deal? So TikTok was recently getting some hate. Let me just say it just plainly. They're getting some hate. So we have another article here. This one's from the New York Post. This one's the U.S. The title of it is U.S. government should ban TikTok. The FCC Commissioner Brendan Carr says. So now this is a bipartisan issue, which means that both Republicans and Democrats agree that this app is a problem. And why is it a problem? Or why are they claiming that it's a problem? So, and I quote here, the FCC Commissioner Brendan Carr called Tuesday for the U.S. government to formally ban the popular video sharing app TikTok over national security risk posed by its ties to China. All right. So now, where's his claims coming from? What's backing it up? Now, back, I'm going to say in 2015, I'll put it in the video, and I'll put a link to it also. But there was they were found guilty. Well, not guilty, but they had to settle. There was a lawsuit, and they were 100% found that they were collecting children's data on the application. I posted this on my Instagram at MetroCoder, and actually one of my followers he chimed in the comments, and he is another techie. He's a computer science major, and actually someone he knows asked him to look into their child's TikTok account. And what did they find? They found that most of the viewers, he found that most of the viewers for, I believe she was 11 years old, are males of around in the 30-year-old range, so between 30 and 40. So that's pretty creepy. So TikTok, yeah, that's a red flag right there. That's a really big red flag, especially for the parents out there. But the other red flag is that TikTok, the main company that owns it is based in China. And the fear is that the company is tracking our data, right? Now, if you go into for iOS in the App Store, you actually get to see the data, and it has line items, and they pretty much track all the information of your device. They know your contacts. They could see even things like, let's say you have your wallet in the wallet app on the iOS. They will be able to see the payments that you have there. They get to go into your contacts, your images. I mean, it's insane if you read the privacy policy. What is it that they have access to? And the fear is that all that information of U.S. citizens is being stored and being read by the Chinese government. to then be used negatively against us, or just be used in general to come up with some type of algorithms. Um, and with that being said, TikTok has also been found, they're in another class action lawsuit for other data collection issues. I believe the state of Illinois has some data privacy laws in place, and that's why they're getting another class action lawsuit. So it's interesting. This money is being spent on advertising. They're pretty much advertising on TikTok, which is, but allegedly it could be mixed up with the Chinese government. Um, I don't know. Let me know how you guys feel about that. I I think it's a problem, but we can't be hypocritical about it, and I think American companies are also doing this. So what makes this such a big issue? Well, not even that it's such a big issue, but we can't tell another company to not do what we're already doing. And it's just because they're a big company and they're based out of China. I mean, that's a little insane. I mean, with Tesla is building a factory in China right now, and he wants to have a relationship with them, and yet we, don't frown upon that, and give him a big headache. So it's interesting to see how this election is using is complaining about TikTok, this Chinese app, but yet they want to use it for the midterm elections to promote themselves on. And like I said, using social media platforms in the past have been a big red flag for elections, especially swaying them. Um, the past election with Trump, if you mention the company Cambridge Analytica, that was a big scandal that happened, and we'll get into that. So I wrote on my blog, the Metro Coder log4j.com. I wrote a blog about four times algorithms effed us, and one of them is actually government elections. So I'm going to tap into some of the research that I made in there. It'll deal with Facebook, Cambridge Analytica, and other data brokers. So there's a couple of definitions I want to break down, which is what is a data broker? So a data broker is essentially, say, a politician. A politician wants to target people in a specific region, let's say New Jersey. They want to target that particular region. They want to target a particular audience. Well, what social media companies are doing, like Facebook, is that they're seeing our interactions with posts, and based off of that, they're able to come up with predictions of our likes and dislikes. Like, for instance, have you ever been on Facebook or Instagram, and all of a sudden you're just being suggested posts that you really like and you really enjoy? And the reason is because they want to keep you engaged with the platform. So that same technology that's used to show you posts that you like, it's also being used to show you advertisements that you may or may not like. So one of the clients of Facebook was Cambridge Analytica, and Cambridge Analytica was then allegedly hired by party members of we'll just say party members of a particular party. I really don't want to get into the politics of it all. I want to focus more on the data broker, the social media aspect, and the manipulation of elections. So what was going on here is that I'll actually pull up an article because what happened was we had a whistleblower, and the title of this article is from The Guardian. Everything is going to be linked in the video description. Also on the blog, it's also going to be there. And also on the podcast description, I'll put the links to all these articles so that you guys can reference them. I don't want to be speaking and not provide facts for you to back it up. So the title of this article is Revealed 50 million Facebook profiles harvested for Cambridge Analytica and major data breach. And the subheading here is Whistleblower describes how firm linked together former Trump advisor Steve Bannon compiled user data to target American voters. So Steve Bannon was actually the former vice president of Cambridge Analytica, and he was Trump's advisor. So there's a little infographic I'm going to put here. So here we have Robert Mercer. He's a hedge fund billionaire. We have Steve Bannon and Alexander Nix. They're related to Cambridge Analytica. And essentially we have a quote here. The Observer has seen a contract dated 4 June of 2014, which confirms SCL, which is SCL Elections Limited, an affiliate of Cambridge Analytica, entered into a commercial agreement with GSR being the Global Science Research, entirely premised on harvesting and processing Facebook data. Cambridge Analytica spent nearly $1 million on data collection, which yielded more than 50 million individual profiles that could be matched to electoral rolls. It then used the test results and Facebook data to build an algorithm, that could analyze individual Facebook profiles and determine personality traits linked to voting behavior. The algorithm and database together made a powerful political tool that allowed a campaign to identify possible swing voters and craft messages more likely to resonate. So with reading that, I'm pretty sure you can see the severity with data collection and all the data points that are being collected by social media applications, and not just social media applications, other applications that we interface with every day. They could be potentially using our data, right? So we need to be conscious of this as we're going on the internet, downloading the latest applications. I mean, even video games now. I just downloaded the new Modern Warfare 2, and they have a bunch of user agreements that you have to get into before you even get into the home screen. You have to log into their servers, you have to create an account, and they're collecting your data. They're seeing, the statistics they're gathering statistics on you so they could make the next game even better and even more addictive, see what features you like and which ones you don't like, and then, build upon that. And the thing is, they're building upon that, but then that information they're allowed to sell. If you click agree, they're allowed to sell your data to another company. So that's where data brokers come into the picture here. So that's really concerning. They're saying basically that if you're able to target certain individuals, you could then create posts that can sway the voter. And these posts can be created by, let's say, fake accounts, right? These fake accounts can then upload misinformation. Misinformation has been all over the news. There was actually a recent article which was posted by the U.S. Post, or let me look it up. Well, anyway, it pretty much was a document from the Department of Homeland Security, and their concern about misinformation and disinformation. And they wanted to form a committee to basically go to social media platforms and be able to regulate. Now, there's a problem with that as well, because if the government goes in there and starts correcting the narrative, then it just becomes the government approved narrative. Now we get into a problem with like dictatorship, no freedom of speech, which is exactly why you have people like Elon Musk, Kanye West, and ex-President Trump, having their own apps. Donald Trump has Truth. Kanye West, I think he was going to purchase Rumble, I believe it is, Rumble. And then we have Twitter being purchased by Elon Musk. Um, so it's interesting in that regard because too much freedom, I guess, or no regulation is you can have fake accounts that create fake posts that could give you misleading information about a candidate and what they're going to do or not do. So in the instance, they could speak negatively about a candidate and give you false news about things that they've been involved with in the past, right? And then we also have the issue where it's real, but then it gets regulated, right? And then it gets regulated and then it gets lost. And for what, right? Now nobody knows the information. Like wink wink, the Biden laptop, the Hunter Biden laptop, and all the information that was leaked from there. But yeah, nobody's talking about that. So to reinforce what I'm talking about in using money, these politicians are using money and using the same tools that advertisers have access to. And social media companies are selling this. This is the oil, if you will, that the modern day oil for tech companies is our data. And there's a bidding war, and they're willing to sell our information to whoever is willing to buy it. So these politicians, like I said, they were projected to have $16.7 billion. I mean, $16.7 billion. These tech companies want that money in their pockets, especially right now. I mean, you have Meta claiming that the claim is that they have 11,000 layoffs. We have Twitter, where Elon Musk has cut half the workforce. I think it's around a little bit above 3,000 employees. You have 90% of the Twitter workforce that was in India has been terminated. I mean, Microsoft is also letting people go from their Xbox division. Massive layoffs are going on right now, and they want this money in their pockets, right? So I can't wait to see in the future what is potentially going to come out, especially with politicians advertising on TikTok, getting on TikTok, spreading their message there. The next thing, so like I said, to reinforce, we have another whistleblower, and this is another article from The Guardian. The title of it is Revealed Brexit Insider Claims Vote Leave Team May Have Breached Spending Limits. Whistleblower alleges that electoral spending rules could have been manipulated over controversial donation that Vote Leave tried to delete key evidence. So there's a quote here. The whistleblower, I believe his name is Shamir Sani. Here's a quote from the article. Sani's central claim concerns a donation of £625,000 that Vote Leave ostensibly made to an independent referendum campaign organization called Believe. He claims the money channeled to a digital services firm linked to controversial Cambridge Analytica firm violated election rules because it was not a genuine donation. So there you go. So you have, even if they say that, they're trying to funnel the money whichever way they can. So this was for Brexit. Obviously, they broke out of the EU, which really had a big impact on other countries within the EU. So we have the US election that was impacted, the presidential election. We also have a whistleblower for Brexit. And then we have another article here. This is from a journal. So this is a peer-reviewed journal, Information Polity, volume 23, number 4, page 429 of 2018. And here I just wanted to highlight Cambridge Analytica, which was brought up in those two previous articles for the Brexit and the presidential election. Cambridge Analytica used a profiling tool called Ocean to categorize Facebook users on the basis of their openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, neuroticism. They then help their clients to target users with the most effective messages. The selective committee observed that the Cambridge Analytica might play on the fears of someone who could be frightened into believing that they need the right to have a gun to protect their home from intruders. So that's just one. In their report, the committee concluded that this relentless targeting of hyper-partisan views, which play to the fears and prejudices of people in order to alter their voting plans, is arguably more invasive than obviously false information. They describe the combined impact of fake news and micro-targeting as a democratic crisis. So there we go. That's how the midterm elections, that's how tech is involved, because that is the new newspaper. Nobody reads the newspaper, but everybody's on social media. So we have to be aware. We have to do research. We have to see the information that we are reading online is actually valid. Elon Musk was actually talking about creating a committee, the sort of truth committee, where basically multiple parties, multiple people would be able to judge, from a bipartisan angle, whether or not things are information or misinformation. Right now, Facebook currently does that, but then you have the concern of who makes up that committee, and things of that nature, right? So they could be either extremely left-leaning, a little too much right-winged, and it's extremely biased. So this is an interesting situation. At the end of the day, none of this would be a problem if we had like Web3 technologies and our data was private and it was our data and it was secure. Then it'd be back to the old school way of things, right? Like, how would these politicians then advertise to us their message? They would have to put advertisement, and yes, we would be able to see it, but how would they collect our data on it? How would they know if they could sway a vote or not? How would they know if we're pro Second Amendment? So this is just another cry for the Web3 to take over, and have our data more private, so that way elections, they aren't a thing that we have to be concerned about with manipulation and disinformation. We can also, with Web3, be able to track back who the owner of the data is, and these accounts. Let's say you post some misinformation, it'd be really quick to see on the blockchain who was the original creator of this and trace it right back. And also if somebody manipulated it, right? That's the whole point of Web3, is that it's more secure. We can see who owned this thing that was uploaded to people. So yeah, so that's pretty much it. I'm going to provide the links below. I'm going to end with good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night. This is Metro Coder. This is Edwin, your host. Thank you for joining once again. This was a fun one. Let me know what you think. You could catch me at Metro Coder on Instagram. I also have a YouTube page. It's Metro Coder there as well. I'm at Metro Coder on Twitter, and the blog is metrocoderlog4j.com. All the links are going to be provided. Take care, people, and be aware of your data and try to keep it as private as possible.